This is Omar Abdelrahim, your government QB, coming at you from Washington, D.C. Today's video is specifically for veterans and for those veterans that have businesses that would like to get verified through the Veterans Administration in order to get exposure, to get contracts from the VA and other parts of the government. Now, before we get into this system or this verification is specifically from the Veterans Administration. It's the VetBiz Registry, and this is a requirement for the Veterans Administration. If you want to do business with the Veterans Administration and for them to claim the credits that they've done business with a veteran-owned business, then you must be verified in this system. The rest of the government does not require you to be verified in this system. It's more of a self-certification, but this right here is specifically designed for the VA, but other agencies can utilize it, as I have utilized it myself in other agencies such as OPM, USDA, and NIH, where they asked me if I have this verification, and they can go and check on this website and they can verify if I have it or not. And this gives them the comfort that you have been vetted by the Veterans Administration for this specific certification. Now, question is, all right, Omar, I'm a veteran, or I'm a disabled veteran, or I'm service-connected veteran. They all, service-connected veteran and disabled veteran, are the same thing, as you all know. I myself am a service-disabled veteran-owned small business, and I've been through this process multiple times since 2009. So I'm very familiar with it, and I just went through it for another iteration. So every 3 years, you have to go through this verification, okay? So those of you who are new to this, have not done it, I want to walk you through, at least take you to the points or the parts in the website that you can check to confirm and make sure that you actually qualify. And then this way they have a quiz, and when you do that, then you have the comfort level that you would qualify, and at that point you can go ahead and start your process to apply for your verification from the Veterans Administration. And as you can see behind me here, this is the website. So it is vetbiz.va.gov. Once again, that's VetBiz, VetBiz .va.gov, vetbiz.va.gov. Okay, and on here you see something called vendor information pages. So this is where you would click. Then you can see here, verification pre-qualification quiz. Does your business qualify? Here you go. So they actually walk you through this process, and you just click take quiz. Now, they're not going to ask you for your business information, so you don't have to be concerned or worried that if you answer something, oh, it's my company or not, or maybe you want to do this for a fellow veteran that you're helping, or maybe more than one, just to see one if they qualify. And then basically you can come back and let them know. So it's very simple. It's going to ask you what type of business you are. You're either an LLC, a corporation, a partnership, or a sole proprietorship. And it gives you certain questions based on the type of company you are. I'm just going to do a really quick example here. So this is LLC. Are you applying as a veteran-owned small business or service-disabled veteran-owned small business? This is for service-disabled veteran-owned small business, is for veterans who have a service-connected disability of 0% or higher. So it's 0% or higher, then you would choose service-disabled veteran-owned small business, which the acronym, get used to acronyms by the way, the government loves it. It's SDVOSB. So you would click in here, okay? Begin quiz, okay? And once you do this, then it's going to ask you a series of questions. Have you attended CVE's free pre-application or re-verification webinar? Since it's free, you really have nothing to lose. I think there's always something to learn from these. So you can click either yes or no, and if it clicks no, then it'll say, would you like to register? And then you can click yes, and then at the end, you can go ahead and register. Have you considered a verification assistance counselor? Okay, this could be useful. If it's free, why not, correct? So if you click no, then it'll say, would you like to be connected? Then yes. Okay, then it's going to start asking you business structure questions. Is the business owned at least 51% by a trust? You either answer yes or no. Is the business owned at least 51% by an ESOP or a 401k plan? If you know what these are, then you would know how to answer this question. And if you don't, then you would click no. Is the business part of a franchise? So we definitely have veterans that are franchise owners. Then you could click yes or no, the appropriate answer. Legal status. Is the business legally organized to conduct business in its state or formation? Basically, where you're formed, are you legally organized to conduct business there? Obviously, you want to click yes. Is the business currently in good standing? Yes. If it's no, then that's going to be a problem. If it's yes, you will be required to actually submit a certificate of good standing, which is typically by, I think, the Secretary of the State of that state. Is the state in which the business is physically located different than the state of formation? You know the answer, whether yes or no. Has the business obtained and kept current any and all required permits, licenses, charters, and professional licenses required to operate the business? Some businesses don't require any of these. Some require all of them. So it just depends. So you click yes or no. Does the business have a DBA, which is doing business as, or fictitious name, trade name, or assumed name? You know the answer to that question. Then you would click this section right here, and then this asks you questions specifically about the control that the disabled veteran, in this case is a service disabled veteran. In this case, it asks questions about that particular person or individuals. So now, if there are multiple owners in the company and more than 51% of the owners meet this criteria, then you qualify. Okay? So if you have 3 owners and you all are equal owners, this is an example, 3 owners, all are equal, all have 1/3 of the company, and 2 of you are service disabled veterans, then what happens is that entity qualifies because it's over 51% are service disabled veterans. Now, let's take that same 3 owner example, and let's just say only 1 person is service disabled veteran and the other 2 are not. They're not even veterans. Then what happens is you will not qualify for this program. Another scenario, let's say there's 3 owners once again. 1 is service disabled veteran and the other 2 owners are just veteran. They're not service disabled. Okay, so now that means that over 51% are veteran owners. The owners are veteran status, are of veteran status, but only 1 of them is service disabled and they only own 1/3 of the company. So 2/3 of the company is owned by veterans and not service disabled veterans. That basically means that that company is a veteran owned small business and not a service disabled veteran owned small business. Okay, so it's very important. But if you're just a single person owner and you're a service disabled veteran, that's very simple. Or if all of the owners are service disabled, very simple once again. Or if you're veteran owned versus service disabled veteran, I think you kind of get the gist of that. And are 1 or more service disabled veterans entitled to receive at least 51% of the annual distribution of profits paid to the owners? I think you know the answer to that question. It's the same, very similar to the last question, but just how many of them are entitled to receive at least 51%, and as long as it meets the criteria that they're veteran or service disabled veterans, then you would qualify. Do 1 or more service disabled veterans control the data they operate? This is probably one of the most important things when you go through this process. They're going to ask for documentation to demonstrate this, like sign checks. Like they actually give you examples here. Who signs the checks? Who signs the contracts? Whose name is on the bank signature card? And who signed the lease agreement? So basically, they're going to ask you, if you do have government contracts, they're going to ask you for copies of those contracts. They want to make sure, hey, who's signing it, right? And if you're actually signing checks still, like I rarely do that. I mainly do online banking or ACHs, so you're not signing anything. So I submit a letter of explanation that says, hey, listen, we don't sign checks anymore. We do that through electronic banking. And that's acceptable. I've done that on more than one occasion. They've accepted it without any further information. Is the service-able veteran able to work for the applicant company during the normal business hours? So these are just kind of common sense questions about the actual service-disabled veteran or veterans. Does at least one service-disabled veteran owner reside within 150 miles of one of the applicant company's operating locations? Basically, they're saying that that you need to reside within 150 miles or so of your company, of one of the locations of the company. And so I'm sure there's exceptions on that because of the COVID and remote work. But that's what they ask. Do one or more service-disabled veterans have the managerial experience? So basically, hey, do you have the experience to do this? And then ask you all these questions. So let's just go ahead and check some of these. So do one or more? Yes. 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 Is the service able to work? Yes. Is it 150 miles? Yes. Do one or more service have the managerial experience? We're going to say yes. Do one or more service-able veterans possess the technical expertise and hold the required license? We click yes. Obviously, why would we do it if we didn't have it, right? If it's required, that is. Does a service-disabled veteran hold the highest officer position in the business as established by the applicant's governing documents? Governing documents, that's going to be based on the organization you are, articles of organization, operating agreement, bylaws. Do one or more service-disabled veterans serve as management members with control over all decisions of the limited liability company? So in my case, yes. Is a service-disabled veteran the highest compensated individual for the business, in the business? Does a non-veteran or entity provide financial support or possess a required license? In my case, no. It could be yes for you. Does a business relationship exist with one or more non-veterans or outside entities? That's up to you. In my particular case, I'll say no. Does your business qualify as small for all NAICS codes under which your business performs work? Now, those of you who are not familiar with a NAICS code, that basically, there's like the 6-digit codes that the government uses to identify what kind of work you actually do. And basically, you can actually Google that, and I'll do that here real quick so I can show you. NAICS code lookup, and here you go. There's NAICS code, NAICS.com, right? So you can come in here, and this is where you can go and check. Like if you say you're an electrician, as an example, and it helps if I learn how to spell, right? There we go, electrician, NAICS search. And then basically this will tell you what NAICS codes are that represent the kind of work that you do. So in here, what happens is each one of these has a size standard. And what that basically means is that for those particular NAICS code, in order for you to qualify as a small business, you have to be below a particular threshold. So each NAICS code has different thresholds. Some are dollar values, some are employee number values, like some, like 334516, as example, is a real NAICS code. In order to be below the threshold to become a small business and qualify, you have to have less than 500 employees. Well, guess what? You could do, you could have 400, you can do probably $1 billion, if not more, and have less than 500 employees. And some of them, it may be $14 million a year over a 3-year average, right? It could be 25 million. So each NAICS code has its own threshold that says in order for you to qualify as a small business, you have to be below that. But if your company is doing less than like $7 million, you're pretty much safe across the board. So it's really only for the companies who are doing well over $7 million that maybe you may have to look at it. The majority of them, I think, are well north of 10 million, the mass majority, but there are some that have a low threshold. And anyway, I will say yes. Then what happens is here you click view results. As you can see, there's view results. So I can click view results, and this basically gives me a snapshot of whether I pass or whether there's some critical things to think about. This is with regards to every question. It says pass, 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 pass. And there is the business currently in good standing. So I must have clicked no. It's okay. So it does check it. So if you click yes, this would be a plus, right? So, you know, and if you notice that you made a mistake, you can edit responses. Okay. So then I can come back down here, and I think it's actually under legal status. It is the business currently in good standing. That's interesting. I clicked yes. Let me click no and then back to yes. I don't know why it said that. Information is physically located. Yes. Is the business legally organized to conduct business? Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now let's view results again. So if you did make a mistake, you can come back and review it. And is the business currently in good standing? I don't know why it says no. As you saw, I clearly put yes. And oh, by the way, the Veterans Administration does make occasional mistakes, right? We won't go there. But anyway, so basically you just want to make sure that these all pass. And like in this particular case, I know I'm in good standing because you must be in good standing. And if you're not in good standing, you will not qualify. So if you cannot get a certificate of good standing, then you will not qualify for this program. Okay, so this is basically just a video just to kind of show veterans, specifically veterans that own businesses that are exploring getting verified by the government, the Veteran Administration, that you can go ahead and qualify for government contracts under the moniker, right, or under the verification of a veteran-owned small business or a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. And the VA is required. It's a requirement for them that they must do a certain percentage business from their budget. So whatever budget they have to spend a minimum percentage with service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses as well as veteran-owned small businesses. So it's two separate requirements. It's not one bulked in. And they also have a requirement. It's called the Vet First Contracting Program. They're supposed to market and socialize to identify and find service-disabled veteran-owned businesses and veteran-owned businesses to do the work. The priority is service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. Okay, so it's very important. Now, once you do this and you see that you do qualify, then I highly encourage you to go ahead and submit for your verification. It doesn't cost you any money. It does take a little bit of time. There is some effort. They're going to ask you some private information, such as your personal tax returns, your business tax returns. They're going to ask you for your bank signature card, as you have mentioned, as we saw right here on one of the questions. And it's going to ask you a bunch of questions that you must answer. Okay, and there's going to be a bunch of documentation that you have to give them. It's supporting documentation that answers the requirement that they're asking. Okay, so it's really not that hard. I've been through it several times. The first time is the most difficult because, what's this and what's that and how do I get that? And then once you have it, then you can basically use it the next time. So this way, the next time, once you verify the first time, the next time you do it, you already have it. You don't have to have that addition. You don't have to do it every single time. But some things they will require you to do every single time, like your distribution ledger, if you have employees and you do payroll, right? But your articles of formation or your articles of organization or articles of incorporation, any of those articles that are basically one-time events, you would not have to redo it every time. Obviously, it's a one-time document anyway. You'll have it. You can just reuse it. Okay, and like your DD-214, they're going to ask you. So once again, you would use it. Okay, and then you go through the verification process. So I highly encourage it. And also, when you go through that process in that system, it's highly encouraged that you add in the NAICS codes. Remember we talked about the NAICS codes? I showed you that site. it's very, very important that you add not only the NAICS codes of the core things that you do, but even the tangent things that you do. So if you're in construction, as an example, and within the construction projects you do, electrician work counts underneath it, plumbing work counts underneath it, HVAC work goes underneath it, fire alarm work underneath it. So make sure you get all of those NAICS codes that are related to what you do, because they will go in there and search by NAICS code. And it actually happened to me many times, by the way, over the years. But one time in particular, they were looking for something for record storage, and we've done document scanning, but I forgot to add the record storage NAICS code. They could not find me. So luckily, one thing led to another. Somebody knew someone, and they said, hey, call Omar. He knows how, he has that. Well, and then he called me and said, hey, I don't see that in your VetBiz profile. So once he told me, I went ahead and added it. Once I added it, then I became visible. So it's very, very important that you do that, and you identify not just your primary NAICS code, but even the tangent NAICS codes or the correlating NAICS codes that are related to the type of work that you do. I hope this video was helpful for you. I have a whole host and library of several different videos on how to do business with the government. Please feel free to search through them. We are also introducing a mastermind, which is basically small group sessions, small group being 10 or less companies. It's fee-based, but it will be live, and we will do that on a regular basis, which could be either once or twice a month. Please feel free to reach out. We're at governmentqb.com. We have a whole host of information. You'll be able to ask for more information there, as well as you can watch different videos and get some ebooks that you can reference and read. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. And if there's any comments or thoughts about other additional content that you would like to see, please feel free to let us know. Thank you, and have a great day.